record. You guys, I'm trying to record and there's just so much noise from the road. I don't know if you guys can hear the siren. Okay. Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Uchechi and I'm a content creator and digital marketing consultant. In today's YouTube video, I'm doing a comparison between iMovie and Final Cut Pro. In one of my videos, someone had asked in the comment section that I do a tutorial on editing in or with iMovie for beginners. Unfortunately, I have stopped using iMovie and I have moved on to Final Cut Pro. Maybe I would still do a tutorial editing with iMovie, maybe, but for now I have moved to Final Cut Pro, and I promised to do a video showing you or telling you why I moved or why I made the switch, and also kind of like do a comparison. So I'm sorry this video is just coming. Thank you for being patient. So before I move on to why I made the switch from iMovie to Final Cut Pro, what I'm going to do is just do a comparison. I'm going to use about 6-7 features or criteria to do the comparison, so that you also, if you've also considered making a switch from iMovie to Final Cut Pro, or if you haven't even started editing and you're trying to figure out which editing software to use for editing your videos, and hopefully this helps you make an informed decision. Now, the first criteria is ease of use, and if I was going to pick an editing software based on how easy it is to use, and I'll go with iMovie. iMovie is user-friendly. It is just straight to the point. You don't have a lot of things to manipulate. There's nothing confusing you on the screen, or at least there was nothing confusing me on the screen when I was using iMovie to edit, but it is relatively easier to use compared to Final Cut Pro. So if you're just starting out, I would advise that you start out with using iMovie first, because guess what? The interface for iMovie is kind of similar to the interface for Final Cut Pro, right? So when you have used and mastered iMovie to an extent and you make the switch to Final Cut Pro, and it's not looking like rocket science, right? Because you've already done iMovie and you've already gotten used to some of the features. Which then brings me to the second factor or criteria, which is interface. Now, the interface for iMovie and Final Cut Pro are kind of similar, right? So I'm just going to show you a recording of my screen so that you see what both of them look like, instead of just me talking and you trying to imagine how they look, in case you do not have Final Cut Pro to look at. So you guys, this is what the interface for iMovie looks like, right? So when you open it, this is what you see, and then I just created this now. You can see 0 seconds. I just created this. So this is called a project, right? So if you want to create a project or you want to start editing your first video, just click on this plus sign, create new, and you choose between a movie or a trailer. For YouTube videos to typically be a movie, I've never gone the trailer route, right? So once you click on movie, this is what the interface looks like, right? So this bit here is your timeline. I hope that is what it's called. Guys, yeah, but this bit is where you add your videos or add your clips and your audio files and your text files and all that you need to edit. This is where you drag them to. Now, if I wanted to import, I'll click on this import arrow to import whatever I want to edit here. And this black screen is where you would see whatever you are editing, okay? So at the top, you have your options, and here you have my media, audio, titles, background, and transition. So like I said, nothing confusing. It's quite straightforward. Now for Final Cut Pro, this is what the interface looks like, right? So it's kind of similar. So this bottom part is your timeline. This is where you would see the video that you're editing. Here is where your settings will come out. So so if there was a video here, you would see settings here. You have your video settings, you have your color correction tools, your audio settings, and all other adjustments that you need to make pop up here. This bit is where all your video files and everything that you're importing would be listed, and here is where your libraries and your project will be listed. So it's a similar interface. Once you have used iMovie to an extent, then Final Cut Pro wouldn't look like such a hard task. Now, the third criteria for comparison is the text options. You guys, Final Cut Pro has fantastic text options, if I do say so myself. So you can see they have a more extended or they have a more extended library, or they have a more extended list of options. I don't even know how that sounds, but yes, they have more options. I should have just stuck with that at the beginning. They have more text options, and since I made the switch to Final Cut Pro, I haven't had the need. So when I was using iMovie to edit my videos, right, what I used to do is I would, because I didn't like the way the text options on iMovie were, I would go to Canva and put in all the text that I need for my video, and then import and start placing in my video, right? That for me was stressful because it meant I couldn't edit my video when I didn't have internet connection, because Canva requires internet connection. So what it meant was that I would do all my text at the same time and import here, or to iMovie rather, and then start adding when I'm editing the video. But with Final Cut Pro, that process has been eliminated. Since I started using Final Cut Pro, I haven't gone to Canva to try to design or create any text templates or anything. I do all my text additions from here, right here from Final Cut Pro. So the text options are just so fantastic. Now, the fourth criteria for comparing iMovie with Final Cut Pro is operating speed, and this came as a shocker to me. Now, when I used to edit my videos with iMovie, I could do everything in one day. So I would record, I would edit, and I would export in one day. With Final Cut Pro, that stuff's been possible. The least amount of time I have used is 2 days, right? And that's because after editing, I stayed on my laptop. I didn't have any break. I didn't leave the office. I stayed, exported, edited, and did the file rendering and all of that stuff here. In fact, I didn't know about file rendering till Final Cut Pro, because for whatever reason that process was not very obvious with iMovie, right? And I'm guessing that's because Final Cut Pro has a lot more effects and tools and options for editing, so you tend to use a lot of these things, and it makes your video files larger, right? So when it is processing your video files, it takes longer than it will with iMovie. But apparently the operating system for both iMovie and Final Cut Pro is faster than other editing software in the market, but I'm only talking about iMovie and Final Cut Pro, so I'm not going to go into other editing software. So both of them are relatively fast, like I said, compared to others. But when you're comparing iMovie and Final Cut Pro, iMovie is faster. iMovie is faster than Final Cut Pro. Now, the fifth criteria, which you have probably heard me talk about a little bit when I was talking about other factors or criteria, is the library of effects. You guys, Final Cut Pro has such a beautiful library of effects. Now, with iMovie, you have just transitions, if I'm correct. I don't think, except I haven't found a way to go to the effects library. But with iMovie, you have just transitions, while with Final Cut Pro, you have effects and transitions. And the effects library, you guys, I'm going to go back to my laptop, and this is where you access your effects, right? This bit. So this first one is effects, and the second one is transitions. So for effects, you have effects for your video and your audio, and you can edit all of these effects. What I mean is, when you want to use this effect, you will drag. So if there was a video in the timeline, I probably should have imported a video. So if there was a video in the timeline, right, I will drag and drop on this video. Now, when you drag and drop, that's not the end. You can even go into edit the intensity of the effect and some other things for some effect. I think for all of them, actually, for the ones that I have tried to use. So if my YouTube videos were a bit more dramatic, so let's say I was doing beauty videos or vlog videos or something, I would enjoy the effects library. I do not even use this bit because my YouTube videos are quite simple and not as dramatic as other videos that I have seen. But if you create those kind of videos, whether gaming videos or review videos or vlogs, beauty videos, any video that with any of those dramatic effects, you would enjoy Final Cut Pro. Now, another criteria for comparison is color. The color correction tool on Final Cut Pro is a lot more advanced than that on iMovie. So you know what, to show you the color correction tool, I would need a video. So you know what, I'm just going to go in and quickly create a library so that I can import videos here. Okay, so this is, let me pull in this video. So now this is what the color correction tool on iMovie or in iMovie looks like. So you remember I talked about settings coming out here, right? So this is your audio settings, this is for color correction, and this is your video settings. So this is the color correction tool, and you guys, it's a lot more advanced. So you have your color, you have your saturation, you have your exposure, and I mean you also have a lot more options, you guys. It's a lot wider. Now let me show you what that of iMovie looks like. So I'm going to import a video again as well here. Now your color correction tool, you guys, is this one at the top. This is all you have for color correction, guys. This is all. It's just, you have this one, I think this is for your white balance, and you have this, which is the major color correction tool. That is all. The only other option is adding either video or audio filters, but these are the major color correction tools with iMovie. So look at this on iMovie, this is all you have, and look at this with Final Cut Pro. You have a lot more that you can do with iMovie. So the color correction tool with Final Cut Pro is fantastic. Now the last comparison criteria, you guys, is price. iMovie is free to use. In fact, it comes with your devices, and I should have mentioned this at the beginning. These editing software, that's iMovie and Final Cut Pro, are only compatible with Apple devices, right? So if you don't have a MacBook, for instance, you cannot use any of these editing software. I should have mentioned this at the beginning. I'm sorry, guys, I forgot, but I'm mentioning it now. So if you have a MacBook, in fact, iMovie comes with your MacBook, so you don't even need to download it. All you need to do is open it and start editing your videos with iMovie. For Final Cut Pro, it is quite pricey. So Final Cut Pro is $299.99 if you're buying in US dollars, and if you are in Nigeria, you're buying in Naira, it is about 99,900 Naira, which is roughly 100,000 Naira. So if you're buying in the US dollars, it is roughly $300, and if you're buying in Naira, in Nigerian Naira, it is roughly 100,000 Naira. You guys, it is pricey. I remember almost running mad the first time I found out about this. However, the good thing is that Final Cut Pro has a trial version, right? So you can download the trial version that is valid for 90 days, which is 3 months, which is the longest trial period on any product that I have seen so far, right? So you can download the trial version, play with it. You have an entire 3 months to explore and see if you like it, and if it works for you, and if it meets your editing needs. And no, there's no watermark when you're editing with the trial version, so everything works smoothly like the original or like the bought or paid version, right? So there's absolutely no glitch or hassle with using the trial version. So now to why I moved from iMovie to Final Cut Pro. I moved for 4 reasons. One is the advanced text options. I love the text options with Final Cut Pro compared to that of iMovie. And like I mentioned already when I was talking about the advanced text options, I have eliminated the process of going to Canva to prepare my text before editing my videos. Now I do everything with Final Cut Pro. The second reason I made a switch from iMovie to Final Cut Pro is the color correction tool. I have shown you what it looks like with iMovie, and I have shown you what it looks like with Final Cut Pro. That of Final Cut Pro is a lot more advanced, and I love it. I love experimenting with it. I haven't done a lot with it yet, but the fact that it is there and I can do more with it than I would have done with iMovie is fantastic. Now the third reason I made it switch is because of the effects, especially the audio effects. I already mentioned that I do not use the video effects as much because my own videos are simple and not as dramatic and do not require that much video effect, right? So I use mostly the audio effects with Final Cut Pro, and that is part of the reason I made the switch. Now guys, the ultimate reason for making the switch from iMovie to Final Cut Pro is because of the timeline. Now let me explain. Now the timeline with Final Cut Pro allows you to stack elements. So whether it's your video elements or audio elements or text, you can stack. So the stacking options are more compared to that of iMovie. Now with iMovie, you can only have 2 layers, right, on your timeline. And that for me was very limiting. I remember when I was editing one particular video and I needed to have so many things coming up on the screen. I had to, yes, that's one of the reasons why I started using Canva. So I'll have to go into Canva to arrange all of those things so I can download as one video and then layer above my primary video on the timeline with iMovie. But with Final Cut Pro, you can stack as much as I think 4 or 5. You know what, let's try. So this is the primary video. So let's say these are all different videos, right? So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Can I do another one? Let me see. You guys, this is, can you guys see? Can you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I feel like if I keep going, I can keep stacking. This has been a lifesaver. I can't even explain. I think the only way I'll be able to explain or show you why I love this so much is if I do a proper Final Cut Pro tutorial. But this is the major, when I did this, when I was editing a video, one of my YouTube videos, and I saw that I could do this, you guys, I almost shed tears of joy. I was like, oh my goodness. 1, I do not even need to continue paying for my Canva Pro subscription, because if you watched one of my videos where I talked about scheduling your social media posts from Canva, talking about the Pro features, I mentioned that one of the reasons I am paying for my Canva Pro subscription is so that I can download text with transparent backgrounds so that I can place those texts on my YouTube videos. That was because of iMovie. But like I said at the beginning, with Final Cut Pro, I have eliminated that process. And because I can stack as much video, audio, and text files as I want on my timeline, I've also eliminated the process of Canva. So this for me is the major reason why I made the switch from iMovie to Final Cut Pro. I hope this video has helped you in deciding what editing software to go for. So again, if you are just starting out with editing videos, I would advise you start with iMovie. I edited about, I can't remember how many videos, but most of the videos on my channel so far have been edited with iMovie. I only started using Final Cut Pro towards the end of last year and then early this year, right? So if you're thinking that the quality is poor with iMovie, it is not. My videos are fantastic with iMovie. I just made the switch to Final Cut Pro because of some of the additional features. So if you're just starting out with editing your videos, please start out with iMovie so that you can get familiar with the interface and get familiar with editing videos as a whole. And then when you can afford to, you can make the switch to Final Cut Pro. Even when you cannot afford to, there's a trial version that is valid for 90 days, which is 3 months. So you can download it by going to the Final Cut Pro website. So you would see 2 options. You see the free trial and you see the buy option. So once you click on free trial, you'll be able to download the package or the software to your laptop and then activate it and start using it so that you know if it's something. That's what I did. Right? So I started with the trial version. I saw that it was fantastic and I decided to make the total switch from iMovie to Final Cut Pro. And that's the end of this video, guys. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up so that other people know that this video is valuable and YouTube also knows that this video is valuable and they can recommend it to others. And I would see you in my next video. Bye guys, and stay safe.